Hello everyone, this is Sam. How are you? Last week, the whole world was shocked because this man, this is a teacher in France, he was walking the street after school and he was stabbed from the back. And when he fell to the ground, his head was basically beheaded. And what's worse is that the head was shown in the social media. And he was killed by young Muslim men. And what happened? Let's read the newspaper and find out what happened. All right, let's take a look at the newspaper and see what happened. This is Guardian News, Paris. Teacher decapitated in Paris named as Samuel Paty, 47 years old. Terrorism investigation opened after 18-year-old attacker shot dead by police. A history teacher decapitated outside his secondary school in a Paris suburb on Friday after he showed the caricature of the Prophet Muhammad to his pupils has been named. Okay, let's take a look at a few details. What happened? Earlier this month, Paty had shown a class of teenage pupils a caricature from the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo during a moral and civic education class discussion about freedom of speech, sparkling a furious response from a number of parents who had demanded his resignation. Before presenting the caricature, the teacher reportedly invited Muslim students to leave the classroom if they wished. But when he showed, reaction was that the parents were very upset and the Muslim community was very, very upset. And what happened? Okay. Well, he said the police shot the killer after he shot at police with the air rifle and threatened them with a knife. Okay, the killer, Abdullah Anzorov, an 18-year-old who had been given residency card in March 2020, was a refuge and lived in Normandy. Okay, so you can see, here we go. The victim was walking home from school when he was attacked, and he had numerous wounds to the head. And he had been decapitated, said Richard. And the weapon was found nearby. Okay, so this is little details of what happened to the teacher. And basically, he showed a picture or a cartoon of Prophet Muhammad. And the students, the Muslim students, they told their parents, and parents became very, very upset. And they became furious, and they complained. And they filed a report. And eventually, young man, he was 18 years old, he got weapon, and he waited for a teacher to come out. When teacher was coming out and he was walking down the street, he from the back, he stabbed. And then when he fell and when he got killed, he began to, behead, cut off his head. And in fact, that he recorded this and he showed on the social media. This is such a horrible incident that happened. And the question is, why is it happening? Why is it happening again and again and again? Why is it happening again and again? And we always hear from the Muslims all over the world, which they have 1.6 billion Muslims. They cry out, Islam is religion of peace. They say Islam is religion of peace. But then instance like this happens again and again. Is it really religion of peace? And if it is truly religion of peace, why is it happening? Why is it happening again and again? And let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Islamic resources. And what does it say? What does it actually say? Why these Muslims become very violent and kill innocent victims? Let's take a look. What happened to those who mocked Muhammad at the time of Muhammad? Well, let's take a look at, here we go, we have Sunan Abu Dawud, okay, Sunan Abu Dawud 4348, okay, here we go. Okay, narrated Abdullah Ibn Abbas, okay. A blind man had a slave mother who used to abuse the Prophet, okay. She insulted the Prophet and disparaged him. He forbade her, but she did not stop. He rebuked her, but she did not give up her habit. One night she began to slander the Prophet and abuse him. So he took a dagger, placed it in her belly, pressed it, and killed her. A child who had come between her legs was smeared with the blood that was there. When the morning came, the Prophet was informed about it. He assembled the people and said, I adjure by Allah, the man who had done this action, and I adjure him by my right to him, that he should stand up. Jumping over the neck of the people and trembling, the man stood up. He sat before the Prophet and said, Messenger of Allah, I am her master. She used to abuse you and disparage you. I forbade her, but she did not stop. And I rebuked her, and she did not abandon her habit. I have 2 sons like pearls from her, and she was my companion. Last night she began to abuse and disparage you. So I took a dagger and put it on her belly and pressed it till I killed her. Thereupon the Prophet said, well, this is the Prophet's verdict, Oh, be witness, no retaliation is payable for her blood. You see, this hadith, if you look at, it says a sahih, okay? If you see this hadith, it simply reports that this slave woman, she had a habit of abusing or mocking the Prophet, and her husband, her master, he killed her. And upon hearing that what happened from this man, Muhammad said, okay, she deserves it. She deserved to be killed. So what's the lesson here? Whoever abuses the Prophet, whoever mocks the Prophet, that person deserves to die. You get it? If you abuse the Prophet, you deserve to die. Well, that's the lesson we get it from this hadith. Next hadith that we want to take a look at is still Sunan Abu Dawud 4348. The previous one was 4348. Now this one is 4349. Now narrated by Ali ibn Abu Talib. A Jewess used to abuse the Prophet and disparage him. Okay, same thing like the slave mother, right? A man strangled her till she died. The Messenger of Allah declared that no recompense was payable for her blood. It's the same story, isn't it? So here again, whoever abuses the Prophet, whoever mocks the Prophet, the lesson is, you deserve to die. You must die, right? Actually, this hadith it says da'if, meaning weak. Da'if does not mean throw it away. If da'if means throw it away, then it would not be here. It means weak. It means pass. You know, when you take a test, you get A, B, C, D. D does not mean throw it away. It's not fail. It's a pass, right? So that's why it's here. This Jewish woman abused the prophet, and she deserves to die. Okay. Last example that we'd like to take a look at is from Sirah of the prophet. The last story that we want to take a look at is the story of Abu Effect. This man was very old. He was over 100 years old, but somehow he was not very happy how Muhammad killed one of his tribe men. And so he wrote poetry against him. So this story is you can find from the biography of Muhammad, Life of Muhammad. This is the earliest biography of Muhammad, in page 675. Okay, 675, right? So he wrote poetry. Long have I lived, but never have I seen an assembly or collection of people. And so he wrote this poetry and expressing his anger and expressing his disaffection against Muhammad. Okay, and here the apostle said, "Who will deal with this rascal for me?" Okay, whereupon Salim, Umayyah, went forth and killed him. Okay, now I wrote it here. Okay, apostle said, "Who will deal with this rascal for me?" Whereupon Salim Umayyah went forth and killed him. Okay, so now you can see this man of Abu Effect, he was over 100 years old. Yet Muhammad did not spare his life, right? And Muhammad, he killed this man who said things against Muhammad. Okay? Okay, now we ask this question again. Why this teacher in France, why he was killed? Well, as we saw from three stories, right? The slave mother and the Jewish women and Abu Effect. The lesson is very simple. Whoever abuses the prophet, whoever mocks the prophet, he deserves to die. That's why this man, he was attacked and he was stabbed, and then his head was cut off. Why? Because he deserves to die. Well, according to Muhammad, this man deserves to die. Well, will this terror attack end with this man? I don't think so. I don't think so. As long as we have a hadith that explains what happens to those who abuse a prophet, as long as Muslims read and obey the example of Muhammad, this will not stop. This will continue again and again and again and again. Lesson: whoever abuses prophet, he deserves to die. Well, we hear so much that it says Islam is religion of peace. Really? After you saw this example, and after you read in the hadith, you say Islam is religion of peace? I don't think so. You kidding me? I don't think so. It's not a religion of peace. Well, let us compare between Muhammad and Jesus Christ. Let's see who can truly give a peace that we all need in this world. Now let's take a look at the Bible, the Gospels, Matthew chapter 27. Now, in this whole chapter, it talks about how Jesus was mocked, abused, and he was persecuted severely. Matthew chapter 27. Okay, now let's go all the way down. Now then, he released Barabbas to them, and he had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified. Then the governor's soldiers took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole company of soldiers around him. Okay, what did soldiers do? They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him, then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on his head. They put a staff in his right hand and knelt in front of him and mocked him. "Hail, King of Jews," they said. They spit on him. What did they do? They spit on him. What did they do? They took staff and struck him on the head again and again. They put the crown of thorns. Now obviously now he's bleeding. They spat on him, took the staff and began to beat his head again and again. After they had mocked him, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. Now here, above his head, they placed a written charge against him. "This is Jesus, King of the Jews." 2 robbers were crucified with them, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself." See, they mocked him, right? They mocked him. "Come down from the cross if you are the Son of God." In the same way, the chief priests and the teachers of the law and elders, what did they do? They mocked him, right? "He saved others," they said, "but he cannot save himself. Oh, he is the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross and we believe in him." In the same way, the robbers, remember there were 2, who were crucified with him and heaped insults on him. So you can see that Jesus was severely insulted, abused, and physically he was punished, and unbelievable what people did to him, right? Now, what was his response? Remember when people insulted Muhammad? And the only thing that, Muhammad says, kill that man, right? Get rid of him, right? What about Jesus? Now, this is time that people, spat on him. They hit with the, staff on his head. They put thorns in his head, and they just insulted him, right? What was Jesus' response? Let's take a look at it. It's in Luke chapter 23. Jesus was much abused. He was mocked. They hit him. They hit his head with staff. They put the crown of thorns and they scourge him, and they mock him, right? How did Jesus respond to their abuse? Well, you see, Luke chapter 23, here it says they crucified him. Okay, they crucified him, right? What was Jesus' response? Here you see, verse 34, Jesus said, what did he say? "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This is how Jesus responded. They hit him on the head. Jesus says, "Father, forgive them." They spat at him. Jesus said, Father, forgive them. They knelt down and mocked him. Jesus said, Father, forgive them. You see, this is how Jesus, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, he showed true peace by forgiveness. Well, what about Muhammad? He too was abused. He too was mocked. Well, how did he respond? Kill him. The slave woman, kill her. Jewish women, kill her. Abu Fax, who was over 100 years old, kill him. Right? Whoever mocks Muhammad, whoever abuses Muhammad, Muhammad's answer, kill him. Jesus too was mocked. Jesus too was abused. His response, Father, forgive them. Well, if you think about it then, which one do you think is true religion of peace? Which one do you think really gives peace? The one who says, kill him? The one who says, Father, forgive them. Dear Muslim friends, I hope you make a right judgment. Whom you follow? One who kills? One who says, Father, forgive them. It is my prayer for all of you that you will choose Jesus. You will choose Jesus. He says, peace I give unto you. This is Sam. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord give you peace. May you always have happiness in your heart. I pray all of you, my Muslim friends, you come to believe in Jesus Christ. Shalom.